Dane, man, how are you today?
Oh man, I'm excited. Again, I'm always excited when we do a episode, and I've recently started my journey back to fitness, and this
Yeah.
is the probably the inspiration I need for tonight's guest. How about you? How's things going
Yeah,
today?
it was a good day. Daisy and I and Reagan went to the OU softball game. They
Yeah,
won. They got a chance to meet some of the players. Reagan got to meet Nicole and
yeah,
May. Had a good time. Always a good day on the diamond.
yeah.
But yeah, so I'm with you, Dane. I was doing a little pre-gaming before tonight. I was running. Definitely not at the level of our guests we'll have on tonight, but I did a quick 3 miler real quick in prep for
Yeah.
tonight. And I got to tell you a story about this. Liz will be coming on in a minute. Liz Willis, amazing marathoner, survivor, amputee that has not let that slow her down. So I got to tell you the story. When Daisy and I were training for our first half marathon, the OKC
Yep.
marathon, I love that marathon. We're rolling through East Wichita. There's a trail that goes past the 13th Warren, and I'm
Yep.
running, and I see this speedster run past me, and I get this "Sup, bro?" Daps me, and keeps on going like, "Oh my gosh, that was Liz Willis!" And it was like, "Oh my gosh!" I made a list. Like, I got to eventually get her on the show. And fast forward, timing and all of that with what we do, we're
Yep.
finally able to track her down. So, a lady that everybody knows, person of faith, inspiration, just makes it
Yeah.
to where you want to do better just by watching what she does. So, Dane, I want to get right down to it and bring on this amazing role model and just stellar athlete, Liz Willis. Liz, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on your show, and I'm excited to, be here and hopefully chat about running. And that's
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
passion, and we'll see where this leads.
Yes. So,
Excellent.
Liz, it's good to have you. We appreciate what you do. Like I said, the world kind of knows your story, and you're such an inspiration. I'm curious when you look at running and how you've just been this icon of what you do. People look at you, they are inspired, and it kind of takes away some of that. Okay, well, I better go out and do it too, right? You know what I mean? So, take you back to running when you first began doing all this, before maybe even the Bostons, maybe the local ones. When did you get the bug to start running? Like, when did this all begin for you? You know?
Mm. Yeah.
Yes. So I actually was a runner before I lost my legs. So I lost my legs in labor and delivery with my son when I was 24 years old, just to some internal blood clots. But I had been a runner and kind of discovered it back at the grade school track and field day. I don't know if you guys had those. Did you guys have track and field day at your
Oh yeah.
school?
Yeah. Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna do the 400-meter dash, and like had never been introduced to track before and ran, and I ended up running a 63 second in fifth grade. So they were like, oh, well, you have a little bit of a talent. And I'm like, where is my talent? Where's my competition? I don't know what happened to my friends. And so at any rate, from that point on, I was moved up to the 1500 and went to AAU junior nationals in Florida. Man, I thought, oh, that's so cool. You actually get to travel to run that, coming from a small town, Sterling, Kansas. I didn't get to get out all that often, especially to like travel on airplanes. So for me, running was a way to go out and see some of the world. And I experienced that very young. And
Mm.
then when I got into high school, started running cross country, went to Fringe University and ran cross country. I was actually recruited to do track, but I had a boyfriend up in K-State going through the ROTC program, which happens to be my husband now. So it worked for the sacrifice.
All
Oh,
right.
love
All
story.
right.
Yeah.
Love it.
But I transferred up to K-State and then I realized, oh, like it's expensive to be in a relationship. So I went to work instead of doing sports and we ended up getting married when we were 19. So I kind of
Oh,
gave
nice.
up running at that point and just kind of threw it to the side and, just kind of moved on with normal life. But yeah, then once I lost my leg at 24, life changed obviously immensely. I had to learn how to
Yeah.
adapt and overcome several things, not just running at that point. I mean, running wasn't even on my mind. It was just how do you parent a child?
Yeah.
And how do you move from there? And then I started going down to my prosthetic company down in Oklahoma City, and they're like, "Do you want to run?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I love to run," because I was talking about how I was a runner in college and everything. And they said, "Well, if you run in one of our track meets, then we'll get you a running blade." I'm like, "Well, that sounds like a pretty cool thing, but like, what do you mean by like going to the like? I'm not in college. I don't
Right, right.
deal with this track
What do you
meets.
mean?
What?" And they said, no, there's adaptive track. It's called like the Paralympics and everything. I didn't even know. I had no idea that there was anything for amputees or wheelchair or anything at that point. I mean, you're talking 2010, and really
Right.
It wasn't something that was known, especially around the Midwest. We didn't really know about the Paralympics or anything like that. So that's kind of how I was introduced, and I'm sure you guys have questions from there. So I'll stop my story.
Yeah. No, I
Really.
love it. I love it, and I think it's as Dane takes too. It's cool that Liz. What I like about when you approach that subject, the way you incorporate it's just part of who you are. You're running, and like you don't let that stop you. It's not even a thing. Like when I watch you and I
Yep.
watch you train, when you put it, that's not going to slow me down. So that's what inspires us most. Is this isn't going to
Yes,
stop you
absolutely.
or hinder you, right, Dane? I mean, how do I
Yeah. I
say that?
mean,
That's awesome. You know?
I mean, a lot of people, it's a whole life-changing thing, and the way you talk about it so candidly, it seems like just a minor setback, and you're on to greater things now. I mean, so what was the first event you did, you know, post
When I,
prosthetic that got you back really the
Yeah,
fire burning again for you?
oh,
yeah.
I was such a cocky young child at 24. I call it young child, naive.
A
Um,
baby, a
I thought
baby.
I was
Yeah.
smart, and I get this running leg, and I had run cross country, so I was kind of smart aleck about it and boastful, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go out and go run a mile, because when you're a cross country runner, like a mile's nothing. Like you should be able to go out and go do that, and like I got this new blade that I can finally run. And I made it like 1 minute and felt like my lungs were going to explode. And I realized that I'm in some trouble. And it turns out that my muscles had atrophied, because you don't have to use your muscles to lift up and turn over to land.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I began running, I had to physically tell my mind, lift up, turn over, land. So it was like it was lift, turn, land, lift, turn, land. It was like a 3-part command that I mentally had to tell myself every single run, like every stride, to learn how to run. And so at that
Mm-hmm.
point, I left and I was kind of really upset and beaten down about it. But then it took a whole whopping 24 hours for me to like rebound, because, I like to run.
Yeah.
But I decided, okay, well, I obviously failed miserably at whatever my false expectation was of this. So
Mm-hmm.
I decided to set a goal to run 1 minute and then run another minute. And then like
Wow.
each day I'd go out and try to add 1 more minute. And then if I failed, I just redid it. So it wasn't a bigger
Yeah.
deal if I didn't meet my standard. It was just, okay, well, now I know that I can only do 3 minutes. So I'm going to redo 3 minutes until I get it right. And then we're going to move on to 4 minutes. And that's just what we did. And my first race was a road race. It was a 5K actually for WSU. It was, I think, October.
Wow.
So, why not try something local first just to give it a shot. And then I went to the track meet as I promised over the summer, and ran the 1500 and set the American record at my very first race. So that was really exciting.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So at that point, like you have Paralympic recruiters like right on you. They're there at that meet. And one of them named Roderick came up and approached me, and he said, hey, I want to come watch you run. I want to, have you ever heard about the Paralympics? Are you interested in this? Whatever. I said, yeah, sure. Come out to Kansas and come watch me run, because this was in Oklahoma. And so he set the time and came out. We met at Mays, of all the places. And he's like, okay, do some butt kicks and your agilities and all this. And I'm like, still pretty cocky and naive. And I'm like doing all my butt kicks and my thigh and all this, all the cool stuff that you do just to try to show off
Yeah.
to,
The swag.
right? Right. Yeah. I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
got
got
this.
you.
I can come meet your standard or whatever you think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's like, well, what event do you want to run? And I give him like this look, like, I just set the American record in the 1500. I'm going to run the 1500. I mean, aren't you here to recruit me for mid distances? And he stared at me and he's like, all right, go do a like a rolling start type thing, run out or whatever, and a snowball. I did it, came back, and he goes, all right, so to go to the Paralympics, you have to choose between the 100, 200, and the 400-meter dash. And that's
Oh
it. That's
wow.
as far as it
Okay.
goes. So I stared at him and I'm like, but I'm not a sprinter. So you got the wrong person. And like, I didn't even know how to use starting blocks. There was so many things. I'm like, you
Mm-hmm.
got the wrong person, dude. You're wasting your time. So I left, and he left. He went separate ways. And he continued to call me for like the next 6 months. And that's kind of how I got started in the US Paralympics, was this recruiter that refused to give up on me. And
That's awesome.
Wow.
uh,
That's awesome.
yeah, 6 months of it, phone calls in my
And th-
ear.
and then from there, Boston Marathon, because I've watched you, all these marathons you do.
Yeah.
Is there, me and Dave were curious because we all hear different runners say their favorite marathon. If you
Yeah.
had to pick one, what's your favorite marathon so far? Any of them,
Well,
you know?
honestly, I've only run 4 marathons in my life. Three of
Okay,
them have been the Boston, and I've won the past three of those. And
let's
then
go.
and then I had to have a qualifier, so I ran the Prairie Fire just to qualify.
Mhm.
Okay, batting 1,000.
So
Let's go. Yeah, I
yeah,
got you.
so that was an interesting experience. I mean, the sport's really been growing. That's exciting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah, just kind of a major transformation moving from sprints to way out. I mean, to extreme distances. I mean, obviously
that's
Yeah.
legit.
not the
Yeah,
crazy ones that grow beards or anything, but close enough.
So,
I love
so
how you're like, I only ran the Boston. Like, it's okay, just the Boston, right, Dane? Like
I
the
mean,
yeah,
top
but like,
one that
it's
there
not a
is. I love
50K. It's
that.
not the 100
I love
milers that run bare feet, like,
I
yeah,
love
for
those,
that.
oh yeah, that's a
It's
whole
all
different animal.
good.
Now, well, coming up, um, is Boston for you, and you're going to be in that coming up on the 15th, I believe, of April here. What has training been like for you leading up to this event?
Yeah.
Well, it's been kind of crazy. I actually had basal cell carcinoma that I was diagnosed with in February, and
Mhm.
2 months out, trying to deal with a diagnosis like that really can kind of mess up your training schedule a little
Yeah.
bit. So I was out for a week because of the biopsies, just because I had to have stitches and sweat and stitches weren't great. And then
Mhm.
I got a week of training in, and then I was out for 2 weeks to have a surgery, and everything's thankfully I have 100% removed. It's a really
Thank
clean
God.
report. That's exciting. Yeah. But then I was double timing it in March just to like try to catch up. So I haven't
Mhm.
had a week that has been less than 60 miles in March. And so that's just a whole whopping load of training to get my body prepared.
Mhm.
And so now I'm just taking a little bit longer recovery. So I'm not running at all this week just to let my
Mhm.
muscles completely heal and recover. And then that way, hopefully I'm
Wow.
ready for Monday. But yeah, it's not about winning the race. It's about, for me, I would love to set a personal record, like do the best I
Yep.
possibly can. And I always tell people just do the best you can on any given day. And
Yep.
that's what you can ask for. So that's what I'm
Mm.
going out to go do. And there's a whole load of really good movements going on. So I'll talk to you about those probably a little bit later, but so many other exciting things that finally I feel like that the work of running is
Yeah.
paying. Like there's just so running is such a platform for
Right.
Yeah.
adapting,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
it
Absolutely.
just grows from there. So it's so exciting. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's like you said, it's influence and the influence that you're now having on the genre, on the sport. It's cool to see
Yeah.
that now you're casting that shadow where I'm excited for the movie one day. We're gonna go ahead and we'll get into that in the rapid fire, but the Liz Willis movie when it's coming. But the influence you're casting in that on people. So
Yeah.
I'm curious when you look at mentors, it doesn't have to be athletes, but everybody's got a mentor or two. I always
Yeah.
look back, I told Dane, I still remember words from Coach Jackson all the way back to fourth grade. I have mentors, right? So what's a mentor or two in your life? It could be a
Uh,
minister, it could be a fellow. Who's mentor or two to you?
Yeah, so of course my coach, Chris, he's awesome. He's Chris Burnett. I don't know if you know him around town or not, but he's a pretty avid marathon runner. He's my coach around here. So I always look up to him and I rarely argue his workout. So that's pretty cool that I actually get along with the coach well enough that we understand each other, we understand where we're coming from. And then if I do argue, he'll be like, okay, I'll look at redoing it because he'll know that I'm like serious about it. Like, dude, my legs are so burnt from what you did to me last week. I need like at least a couple miles to recover. So that, he's been awesome. But honestly, if I were to look at like my main mentors in my life, they've been educators. And so my high school track and cross country coach, Dan Whistler, has been hugely instrumental. And he's still a great friend today. We still talk, we still hang out, we still go out for meals. And so it's so cool to watch his kids now compete in sports and do cross
Mhm.
country, kind of become runners themselves. But he's a huge mentor of mine. And then off the field, I just have so many people, like once again, teachers. I was probably one of those children that you would consider a little bit more rough going through high school. So, I was very strong-headed, and my mom's very strong-headed. So I moved in actually with one of my teachers in high school, and to see that grace and that finesse that
Mhm.
those teachers have to be able to take in a high school female, and they're like, no, continue doing sports, and they really build you up. They're still like, second parents today. So that's really awesome for me. And then, yeah, and then I have a close friend named Deb Snow, who is the pastor's wife at our church. And so
Love that.
recently just trying to work on making sure sobriety is a big ordeal with me, because coming out of the hospital, was on several medications, narcotics. And so she really is the kind of the one that I'll text saying, hey, I'm struggling. I feel like, she's just my strong mentor spiritually
Yeah.
and
Wow.
physically like that. So it's cool to
And,
have
and
an entire team.
I love it that, Liz, when you talk about that, because we've interviewed people, I love how you don't run from the topic of, because we appreciate your faith. We follow you. We know that. And I
Yeah.
respect your faith greatly. You also are not afraid to be honest. Like, hey, sometimes we struggle, even though you've been through it
Yeah.
and you've overcame that. And I mean this with all love, if anybody had maybe like an extra reason to be okay with, giving in to some of those past substances,
Yeah.
you
Absolutely.
lean harder to not give in. Like, it's so cool how you have overcome things physically, mentally, addictions. Like when I say that you're a beacon, I mean what I say. You give people hope that someone like you who can turn around and be so successful, it gives those hope. What do you say, Dane? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
see.
Absolutely. I mean, we all get thrown curveballs. Some's different than others, and I mean, just to build like you have, and to do something great and become a champion on something that seemingly would have been taken away from somebody else, but you had the mental and fortitude to press on and make the best of it, and maybe even make it better than it otherwise would have had that not happened to you. So it's a great inspirational story to listen to you tell it. And
Yeah.
so now that whenever you said earlier about running kind of being a platform to things, now that we're in 2024, you're on the brink of Boston again. What after Boston, what do you see on the horizon for you coming for the rest of the year and into the future?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so as far as running goes, I don't know when's this airing before I before I speak too much in advance. Is it going to
It,
air like next week?
this will
Or
air most likely by tomorrow or Saturday, the latest. So it's by Saturday. So if you
okay.
can't
I
say it,
think it'll
that's
be
cool. But
okay. Yeah, I think it'll be all right. So that's like a brand new stuff, right? So on Saturday, maybe perhaps when this is airing, I'm meeting with the directors of the New York City Marathon, and they're gonna meet me there in Boston. We're gonna have a conversation about maybe expanding parasport to the New York City Marathon.
wow.
So I'm
Wow.
really excited about that. Yeah. And like I had reached out to them and I was like, hey, I just want to be able to run your race. And they emailed back like the exact same day. And that was, of course, put in by the athletic director, like the director of Boston Marathon, at least put me in contact with the right people. And they emailed me back and they're
That's
like,
cool.
oh, we're actually going to be in Boston. Do you want to meet in person? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll meet up with you guys in person. They're like, we'd love to hear about expanding the sport in New York now that's impacted your life. So I was like, sweet. So I'm really, really hopeful that if anything, they'll at least have me come run the race this year. And then that way they can learn about expanding the sport for the New York City Marathon. And then I would love to see Chicago expand it. So that way all the at
The
least
majors.
the majors here in the United States offer a para division. That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Wow.
And then
Wow.
London is the next one that I would love to try to bring on. The others, I don't know. Tokyo seems to be a little bit hesitant. Like they would definitely be the last one of the six that I would visit. And then Berlin was another one that I feel like they would be willing to come on board. It's just trying to find some local people in both of those countries that
Yeah.
have access to prosthetics who would be really good advocates for them, because I feel like if you can
Mhm.
get someone local from their country,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
much more apt to want to expand the sport. So yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Dave, that it is literally you're taking your vision worldwide, literally, Liz. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's
Yeah.
So
fantastic.
so that's
Yeah.
number one. And then meeting number two, I promise you I run a marathon in Boston, but really I just go to a bunch
Right.
of meetings to have
Well, a
it.
bunch of meetings, right? Yeah. Bunch of
But,
meetings. A
meeting
lot of
number
Starbucks.
two is with On Running, which I don't know if you know On Running. If
Yeah.
you looked up the
Yeah.
company, you would recognize their shoe.
Yeah. Yeah. We know
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
They're awesome.
but so at any rate, there's a movement called So Everybody Can Move. And I'm starting the advocacy group for the state of Kansas. And basically what that is Medicaid expansion to include running blades. in insurance. And right now, insurance companies don't cover any running prosthetics for a single
Right.
amputee. So in order to
Huh.
get a running blade, like I started Wichita Adaptive Sports here, so our foundation will purchase running blades for the youth. But unless you are already known, then you have to, apply through grants to try to get running blades. And unless you already have experience running, then it's really hard for those grant programs to give you a running blade. So it's just not fair to these children who actually want to run and they don't have opportunities or access to them. So that's the next thing we're doing is legislation in the state of Kansas to have Medicaid expansion cover running blades. And then once Medicaid takes it on, then all private insurance companies usually follow in line. So that's exciting as well. So those are kind of the two major things.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's exciting. I mean,
That's awesome. That's
it's not
awesome.
about the running, it's the purpose behind your passion. That's what I always tell people. Like once you get to this
The
level, once you
purpose.
start getting my age, it's what's your purpose? Why are you showing up every day to get it done?
Yeah.
And what impact are you doing for the future? So hopefully those two movements pick up and take off because it'll affect everybody, every amputee. So we
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm making notes of that purpose behind the passion. I love that phrase.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's going on a bumper sticker, Liz. I promise.
Yeah,
That's legit.
absolutely.
I love that. But no, it's like Dana and I say, I knew we already loved you, Liz, but like you're talking about, we always say people like yourself and any guest we're blessed to have on, the next generation is in good hands. Then am I wrong?
Yeah.
The next generation's in great hands,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it expands farther than just the next generation. It's generations to follow if all this goes through and the legislation passes, and hopefully it
That's
does.
cool.
And we love those kind of messages to try to help
Yeah, it would be so exciting.
broaden that.
So exciting
Absolutely.
to have that access. So it's
Yeah.
just funny because the sport's expanding and people are asking me like a big one in the interviews is, well, how are you handling, more competition or whatever? Because I do hold the world record in the half marathon 10K. And I'm like, it's going to be great once those records are broken. And once I see them
Yeah.
fall, that means that I've done my job at getting the word out and expanding the sport. And that's all I want is I want it to grow. And I want more amputees to feel comfortable in their skin to come out and go run and try doing athletic sports. Because like I would say even a decade ago, the outlook of the general society on people that are amputees is I don't want to say less than because that doesn't make sense, but they're just kind of separated from the general population. You didn't see them exercising in the gym or running marathons or running events or anything like that. It was kind of like a taboo topic. You just don't really talk to them about exercise and sports and athletics. And to be able to see that dynamic changing over time is excellent because
I love that.
The kids and the youth to be involved. So yeah, it's exciting.
You make me think of this thing before I transition to rapid, Liz. It's kind of like say I won't. What say I won't? I like that. It's like you're tell me I can't. Tell me I won't do it. Say I won't do it. And there's like this junkyard dog thing about you that I just love, where it's like, come at me, bro. Tell me I can't, and I'm gonna like tell you that I can. Dane and I are inspired by fight, like that fight spirit, like that. I love that about you. There's such a passion, and that's what I think just drives people to want to be like you. Is you have a absolute passion, and I could get fired up and I'll start preaching. So help me out, Dane, because I gotta shut it down. So Liz, there's a segment we do. I promise you, I guarantee you, in media that you've done and any platform, I promise you, this next segment, you've never had a section like this.
Okay.
This is something we call rapid fire. So we keep it PG, but for a second, we're about to get weird. We like getting weird. Okay. So what it is, we have 5 questions that Dane and I, if you can see here, we have them written down. You can't see them, but we've written down. I'm not going to tell you what they are. These 5 questions, Dane and I have bet on what we think you're going to say. So there's no wrong answer for these questions, okay? With these 5 questions, whoever gets close to getting what we predict you're going to say right, almost like a DraftKings thing, the winner gets lunch provided by the loser. So I got a lunch coming. I got a feeling on this one, Dane. So Dane, do you have your picks? Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
So Liz, in this segment, Liz, in this segment, again, no wrong answer. You go with the heart. These are just rando questions from around the world that our fans give us just to kind of pick your brain for your personality. Okay, you ready? So question number 1. So you're called up as a celebrity guest host to help do an episode of American Ninja Warrior. Next season's on, you're going to guest host and commentate. You get to pick your partner to guest commentate for the night. And your two choices to help Liz Willis guest commentate is Charles Barkley or Magic Johnson to help you commentate American Ninja Warrior. Who are you going with? Barkley or Johnson?
Barkley.
Let's go. I had you on that one, Dan. How about you? So.
Oh yeah, Barkley. He would be great in any sport or any event that you would do.
He's awesome. Everything he says, he got that
yeah.
cool voice. He would be so fun to hang out with. They're just saying. No. So next question. I had you for that. So we're tied. You're doing a lot of celebrity questions, a lot of charity stuff. Question 2, you're doing a celebrity golf tournament. They invite you, and you get to pick your caddy. Love both these ladies. And your caddy that's going to be with you, not only are they going to be with you, they get to sing to you like every hole that you stop at, hole 1, hole 2, and all that. You get a singing caddy for this experience. And your choices are Beyonce or Rihanna. Who's going to be your singing caddy to kick it with you for the tournament,
I got a thing for Beyonce. I mean.
Yeah. Let's go.
We're going to go with Beyonce.
Let's go. Dan, I have Beyonce. Who'd you have, man?
No, I had Rihanna on that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay. No wrong answer. I like it when you pick my way. I love it. This is cool. So next one. They're doing kind of like, I see this a lot. We just went to, Dan and I just covered Winter Jam. We got some buddies that played at Winter Jam. And a lot of these festivals and things, they have inspirational speakers that go along with them and all that, kind of like give speeches and all that. So these two bands say, Liz, I want you to come kind of spread the message of running and taking the sport with you before we do our concert. We want you to be our guest speaker. The two choices that you get to open for is Switchfoot or Imagine Dragons. You're going to be the speaker for one of those two. Who are you going with?
Imagine Dragons. 100%.
Oh, I got that one wrong. That's my first one wrong. Dan, who'd you have on that one?
I had Imagine Dragons.
Let's go. Okay.
No brainer as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So we're tying it back up. Okay. So there is going to be, and this next one, I'm predicting this, there's going to be a Liz Willis movie coming out. The Liz Willis Lifetime movie that comes out in 2027, right? We're predicting this. You get to be the script writer, of course, and kind of tell your story and be the consultant. And you get to pick one of these two amazing ladies to play you in the upcoming movie. I love them both. This is going to be hard. Your character that can play you can have Meg Ryan, love her. Or check this out, whole different direction. You can have Fergie play you. Meg Ryan or Fergie, who's going to play Liz Willis in the upcoming movie?
I need to know the plot of this movie. What the heck? That's a rather broad.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's going to be what's the word? Whatever that bio.
A biopic.
Biography.
Yeah, biopic. Yeah, biopic. Yeah. Yeah, biopic. That's what it is.
Do either one of them know how to run at all? I
think so. I think so. We might have a stunt person for the running.
They do want to see. They do want to see.
Wait, hold on. How old is Meg Ryan? We got it. How old are these people? The runners. Am I picking a 60-year-old to be me? Come on.
No, it can be
they'll be in their prime.
Yeah. This is it's transitioning back again. It's reality. Meg Ryan. Okay, Dan, did you have that one? Dan, or who'd you have?
Yeah, and Meg Ryan. Because I seen it in her. I was thinking she'd be in her prime, like the, Harry Met Sally days kind of.
I got era. You. Okay.
There you go.
Gotcha. So we are officially tied because I picked Fergie because Fergie is near to my heart. So I picked Fergie. So we're tied here. So last one.
Tiebreaker then?
We got one more. We have one more.
Okay,
so
all right.
Yeah, there's 5 of them. So we'll see who. This is the tiebreaker. So Liz, don't let me down. Last question. You're called up. You get called up. Another celebrity question, and I love both these events. You get to be picked to do the national anthem for one of these two iconic events. You can be the national anthem singer at the Indy 500 or Game 7 of the World Series. Indy 500, World Series. Which one you go with?
Not even a question. It's the World Series by far.
Let's go. Dane, what'd you have on that?
That's the Indy 500.
Did you really? All right, let's go. Let's go. I had World Series.
Yeah, well, I was thinking because of a track and all that stuff. I was kind of correlating the two together, but
you're going
struck out on that one,
Dane. I love it.
It was a reach. It was an incredible reach.
Watching the cars forever.
Yeah, turn left, right?
Yeah,
right. I know, I got you. I appreciate you, Liz. So that's a little segment, hopefully, in interviews you've done. That's different. That's rapid fire. Okay.
Wait, aren't you both Aren't you both baseball fans? And one of you is like
Yeah.
25. Oh man, you betrayed your own sport.
Well, because we're picking what we think you're gonna say.
I
It's not what we
know.
want. Yeah. Yeah. It's
If I'm a
okay.
guest on the show, it'd only be smart for me to at least choose baseball with you guys. Fun.
So she might have threw the game for you, Dan. I'm just saying
I
that's
might
cool.
have.
Yeah.
So I love it. Thank you, Liz. We
All
appreciate
right.
you, my friend.
Thank
That was
you.
awesome. So Dan, go ahead, Dan, the last segment.
And Liz, in this last segment, we call it open mic. We kind of open the floor up to our guests to let them talk to some of our younger listeners and viewers to kind of maybe give a couple of words of wisdom or inspiration to them. Have you carried some words or some mantra or maybe a philosophy through your life that kind of helped you during tough times, or maybe you needed to get to another level? Is there maybe a couple of words that you can leave some of our younger viewers to kind of help them along their path, whether it be sports or maybe even music or anything that they choose to be great at?
That's good.
Yeah, I think my own personal motto is always rise in strength beyond the once thought impossible. And what that means to me is like when going all the way back to when I was recruited to be a sprinter and I had no clue how I was going to overcome all those obstacles. I felt literally like Moses, trying to lead those people out. I was a mom. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. I was still addicted to narcotics and you got to pass a drug test. I didn't know how to sprint. I didn't have a coach. I mean, I was coming up with every single negative excuse as to why in the world sprinting wasn't for me. And then all of a sudden, literally, honestly, I was just praying one night and God was like, you're going to become a Paralympian. And I'm like, okay, well, it was clear as day. And so instead of me arguing, it was just like, just be quiet. You need to listen. And I honestly didn't think that was ever going to be possible because first off, I had to go to drug rehab in order to get off of the narcotics. That changing that mindset
That's
alone, let
awesome.
alone hiring a coach and all that, to me that was something that was completely impossible. And then qualifying, I was able to go on the professional circuit in 2015 and then going to Rio de Janeiro in 2016. I mean, that was just a remarkably quick turnaround. And
Mhm.
so yeah, to me that would have been for 99% of the population or more, that really would have been an impossible feat. That just
Right.
with Christ and having that, knowing that he was there and that was the plan I was supposed to be doing,
Mm.
then that's what, rise in
I
strength
love
beyond
that.
what's impossible. So yeah.
Wow. And Liz, your story, like I love that about you. It makes us, we already loved you a lot, but when you're talking about what you overcame, there's several things I've known about you from just kind of watching you through the years. You don't judge anyone. In fact, you bring people with you. And I hear that about yourself. Somewhere along the way, someone helped you, get out of your rut, and look at you now, literally like an ambassador for the
Yeah.
sport. You're
Yeah.
now carrying the torch and you're helping others. Dan, we talk about this all the time. Like, you could have let all those things, Liz, beat you down, but you didn't. You overcame it.
Yeah.
You had God
Yeah.
help you, and then look at you now, right, Dane? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any one of those things could have, brought you to your knees and said, why? You said, why me? But you just chose to persevere through it. And you're taking something that you've done well, and now you're taking it not just a little bit bigger, you're trying to take it worldwide, which is
yeah,
the
that's cool.
greatest feat you can do on something like that. If everything works out in the way that we're hoping it does for you, we can't
Yeah,
wait to see that expand that far.
Yeah, the crazy part is that in that exact same prayer, I was told I wasn't even going to medal. So I'm like, why in the world do you even want me to try to go to the Paralympics if I'm not going to medal? And that's where that passion behind the purpose, or the purpose behind the passion, kind of came
Yeah.
through. And it was, I've got bigger plans for you. And that
mm,
bigger plan was the following year, I came home and started Wichita Adaptive Sports. Now we have over 30 kids in our program doing wheelchair basketball, track and field.
that's cool.
Yeah, they do wheelchair tennis, and we're at Chicken and Pickle every other week, and they give us free courts. But it's just being able to have that program here in Wichita for other kids to actually be able to, build and expand. And then, of course, moving on to the marathon stage, and then going worldwide and expanding it throughout
Mm,
the United States. So it wasn't about the race, it wasn't about the medals, it was about the purpose and what was,
Yeah.
the plans that were laid that I didn't see at that point, but what was able to come from having the platform of running. And
man,
that to me is just, that's why I show up every day. It has nothing to do
yeah.
with anything else besides knowing, okay, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where this is going, but obviously it's got a plan and a purpose bigger than me. So we're going to keep going.
Oh,
I keep coming back to
unbelievable.
role model. Role model is what I hear from you, Liz. You're letting God use you. You're not fighting that plan anymore. You're giving into the
Yeah.
plan. You're letting God direct your path. And look at you now. When you talk about those kids that you even take chicken and pickle, that's worth it in and of itself. That right there is
Yeah.
worth it alone. All the putting together programs, talking about it, networking, lobbying, and all that. You got
Yeah.
kids that look up to you that you get to be with twice a month. That's enough reason alone to do it right there. Not let alone this worldwide thing that you've got going on. That's just so cool. That's rock star
Yeah.
status, Liz. I love it. I love what you're
Yeah.
doing. It's really cool.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. You
well,
should
Liz,
come down. Actually, Derby. They're going to be at a little track meet in Derby. So in Derby, Kansas,
when
the first weekend in June. And then we'll start
say
doing our travel around the United States. But the one in Derby is for
we'll
like the itty bitties that are just learning how to do track and field. It's a very small thing, but it would
yeah
be probably pretty fun to cover if you wanted to, cover adaptive sports somehow. Or if you guys wanted to come out and learn a little
yes
bit about the little
Yeah.
kids, you could always interview parents and that kind of stuff. Just throwing
we
that out there for you. So
We will be there. I'll get you my contact information because I mean it when I
Yeah.
said we believe in pushing those type of things. So we'll be there. I'll make sure we link up and we will be there. One of us will be there to
Absolutely.
help cover that. We'll be happy to showcase that for you. I give you
Yeah.
my word.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's the stuff that we live and breathe. We want the next generation to feel that love and respect, to feel better. What you're
Yeah.
doing is a step beyond that. I love that and it's cool because you're not allowing anything. How do I say this? You're not letting any excuse or like, woe is me, feel sorry for me. No, we're going to get out there and we are hand in hand, shoulder and shoulder. And that is what makes
Yep.
me so passionate about
yeah.
what you're doing, Liz. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for making everyone see how great you are. So, wow.
Yeah.
Well, Liz, I'll run on for days. I literally will because I have a tendency to talk. I want to say this: we always respect our guest time. There's two things: don't be a stranger. We'll be at the event. Make this the first of many. Once you come
Yeah.
on the show, you're an alum. You're welcome back anytime.
Yeah.
As you're
Absolutely.
expanding, maybe bringing new events or new pieces of your brand, this is a show that will always support you and be happy to showcase that. You just say
Yeah.
when, and we'll schedule, and we'll always make it happen. Okay, so.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and if do you guys ever go on to like KWCH or anything like that to like get your guys' show out or anything like that? Have you ever
We work with
checked
Jay.
out a
We've
local
got a few
platform?
people. Our buddy Jake. We do a lot with social media. We broadcast it through social media platforms and things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would just
we'll
know if you guys were going to try to get, if you needed to ever do like a, if you ever wanted to, yeah, coordinate. But if you know Jake, then you're good. But Max
yeah
Dunton, who is Jake's like
yeah
best friend over there, yeah,
Mhm.
he would like lived here for a while. So if you
okay
ever, like seriously, if you ever need to do not me, but because I know them and I can just give them a call. No, but if you ever needed to get like a story out or anything like that,
I
just
love that.
shoot a text.
Yeah.
But if you guys know Jake, he'll hook you up
Oh,
too. So
thank you.
I
Oh,
just want to
Yeah,
make
awesome.
sure that you guys, it's all about networking, whenever you're trying to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
media out,
Absolutely.
networking's super, super important around
We'll
here.
we'll never turn down that. We appreciate that. We've kind of did it's pretty neat, this
Yeah.
grassroots thing we've done. Well, like I said, we looked up one day and it was 30 countries that support the show. So
Yeah.
it's and this is where when I saw it, we said we have to showcase you and do it right. And I want again, we're just one piece of the puzzle, right? But if we can help,
Yeah.
what we want is to share the message of our guests. That we do this for free, it's passion for fun. It's a product we do to showcase good people. And
Yeah.
you're the kind of person that we want the world to hear
Yeah.
more about.
Absolutely.
So we love you. So
Yeah, and I
yeah.
mean, I appreciate you guys getting the word out. It takes people
Yeah.
like you to be able to spread the word, and especially if it's going across 30 countries, it's going to reach countries where they don't have access to prosthetics
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
they don't know about the Paralympics or how to get involved in programs. And so it's a great way then for them to start researching, because every country
Yeah.
does have something, and it'd give them maybe
Yeah.
some motivation to find some local programs too. So that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Don't be surprised, Liz,
Wow.
in the midst of this the next couple of weeks if you get some messages from people in like Fiji saying, "Hey, we appreciate you." So you
That's
might get
always
some
really fun.
messages that's really cool. Oh, who's this person from like Finland? Oh, hey, what's up? How
Yeah.
you doing? Give them a knuckle bump, right? You know what I'm
There
saying?
you go.
So
Gotcha.
but no, Liz, it is a true honor. We are very, very grateful. Like I
Yeah.
said, your time is
Absolutely.
precious. We try to be very respectful of that. So we wish you nothing but the best in the event coming up. We know
Yeah.
it's going to be great. We'd love to get some footage. If you get some pics, send them our way. We'll share them with the show. We will
Absolutely.
definitely make sure this is produced before the event, that we kind of time it with that for you.
That'd be
And like I
awesome.
said, please don't be a stranger. We have to make sure this is the first of many that we have on the show. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Okay, feel free to text anytime. You guys have my contact, so reach
I
out.
sure do.
Thank
All
you
right,
for your
My
time,
awesome.
and good luck.
Thank you
Good luck
guys
in
so
Boston.
much. Yeah, I will. Thank
Yes.
you. All right, I'll go ahead and
Best of
hop off
love.
for you.
Much luck, Liz. Much luck. Best of love, and have a good one. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
So Dane, Liz is amazing, dude. I'm telling you, Dane, what'd you think of her? Wasn't she awesome?
And yeah, I mean, the messages are always solid. I mean, inspiration, you know, motivation, all those things come to mind, and discipline.
Yeah.
You know, motivations only get you halfway there, but you have to have that discipline to do it. And she has all those things, and it seems like the energy is endless, and that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. So, I mean, I'm just kind of soaking it all in, thinking how, like you said during the episode, how any one of those things could have taken somebody down, but none of them have done it. You know,
Not
and
Liz. Yeah.
she's, yeah, I mean, and still persevering and doing better and doing more with what she's been given, and
Yeah.
making the most out of it, and taking something that she had a passion about and that she was put into, and taking it worldwide to help others. I mean, there's nothing better than that, than giving back to people.
They say they always have that type of personality where you either get better or you get bitter with any situation, right?
Yeah.
And no matter what it is, you get better or you get bitter, right? And
Yeah.
something that she dealt with, what a heavy coming into that in your 20s. Okay. But no, how do I then adapt? And then now I don't want anybody to ever feel like they're set back. And that I keep circling back to that point, Dane, where I just can't get away from it. I love it as it should be, as the respect should be. It's not, hey, I'm over here doing this separate race or this separate thing. No, we're rubbing shoulders at the gym together. It's you and me. There's
Yeah.
no need to separate this. We're in this together.
Yeah.
And that is what I want. That's what we stand for on the show, whether it's differences and like she said, Paralympics or, race, create orientation, male, female. We want that
Yeah.
to be, we're all judged by our effort. And that's it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
she does a great job of really pushing that message. And I just love that. So I knew you'd love her as much as I did, Dane, but that was a treat, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like I say, I was started running again. Now that even
Yeah.
strengthens my resolve to keep after it and get back on the streets myself. It's been some time since I've run that distance, so hoping to get
That's
back
awesome.
there.
Well, that was a true blessing for us. Like I said, on behalf of the show, we couldn't say enough thank yous to Liz and her entire camp.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this will not be the last one. We run a pretty tight schedule, so I know we've got one more for you tonight. We've got our mentor and friend, Mr. Nick Best, stopping by one more time to check in. So, Liz, thank you for all you do. We can't say enough thank yous. On behalf of Dane and Josh, don't forget, as always, that we love you. And Dane?
Thank you for listening.